big station. Dominicans journeyed beyond our shores for decades in search of economic opportunities and educational advancement. Many are ready to give back to their cherished nature island. Welcome to Roots Connections on Q. Join Dr. Simone Matthew on Q95 as we tap into the life and times and expertise of our nature island Dominicans, at home and abroad. From our agriculture and industry to sustainable development, resilience and renewable energy, to the music, art, and entertainment industries. Join Dr. Simone Matthew and guests every other Wednesday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We examine where they came from, where they have been, where they are now, and how we can move forward together with our brothers and sisters at home and abroad to inspire and elevate our country, our economy, our people, and our youth to achieve excellence and success. Roots Connections on Q, every other Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Only on Q95, the big station.
Jacob is calling his children. Pay the price, so we want oh, children, oh, to Zion, oh, wanna go.
Dominica, the Caribbean, and the rest of the world, good evening to you and welcome to another episode of Roots Connections on Q, right here on Q95, the big station. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, it is always great to be in your company for our number one program for navigating a world where change is the only constant, where we feature the change makers in our community, the visionaries among us who are not sitting by the sidelines talking about what we should do, but instead they are on the front line walking the talk and showing us what happens when we all turn that passion we have for our people into action for the development of our people, our region, and the world by extension, despite every challenge they may face. We continue to witness how quickly the world around us is changing and evolving. So here on Roots Connections, we are committed to engaging with our visionaries as we explore topics such as the changes we should be concerned about, the changes we should be taking advantage of, and what changes we need to make in order to move our people at home and abroad forward. This evening, we're very happy to be joined by the founders of the Lantern Network, TLN, another wonderful organization which is on the mission to secure the future of the youth here in the U.S., but who also plan on extending that mission to our Caribbean people and our Caribbean region as well. So we'll learn more about that during the course of the program. So today we're very happy to be joined by Mrs. Tracy Raphael, co-founder and executive director of the Lantern Network, as well as Mr. Irvin Raphael, yes, her husband, the vice president of revenue at Lucid Motors, and also the co-founder of the Lantern Network. So again, welcome to Roots Connections on Q. This is episode number 93, and I am your host, Dr. Simone Matthew. Before we get started, we always like to remember to pray for our country, Dominica, and all the challenges and battles we continue to face in so many areas. As always, we're grateful to you, our worldwide audience, whether you're joining us on the radio or you're joining us on Facebook and YouTube at Q95 FM Radio and Push Past 10, and on YouTube at Q95 FM Radio. So again, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your loyal support. So again, let's give a very warm Roots Connections welcome to our guests as we thank them for taking time out of their busy schedules to be here. So we're going to invite them to unmute their mics and greet us with a brief introduction before we begin talking about what exactly is the Lantern Network and what exactly they do. So Irvin and Tracy, let us know who you are. And this being Roots Connections, what is your connection to Dominica? So again, thank you for being here. Tracy, ladies first.
Thank you. I will definitely go first. I can see Irvin's coming back in. He had falling off. My name is Tracy Raphael. I am the co-founder and executive director of the Lantern Network. It's a 501c3 nonprofit where we really focus on helping the next generation. And my connection to Dominica, which is my most favorite island in the Caribbean, is that I'm married to a man who was born on the beautiful island of Dominica. I love the lush land, the scenery. It's just beautiful, and more than anything, the people. The people are magnificent.
Yes, so I think Irvin is having a little technical difficulty, so we're going to encourage him to disconnect and reconnect again as he is coming on. So let us just go ahead and read a little bit more about who Tracy Raphael is. So she says, as a nonprofit co-founder, I believe that every young, undeserved, underestimated, aspiring entrepreneur and professional deserves access to skill development, mentorship, capital, and career opportunities. And Tracy, maybe you can mute yourself and maybe call Irvin and see if he's having any issues. So let's continue. But too often, barriers stand in the way. That's why I co-founded the Lantern Network, a nonprofit dedicated to helping young talent build sustainable careers and businesses. She continues, growing up in inner city Columbus, I had a modest upbringing with parents who never graduated high school, but I was fortunate to study accounting and finance, but I faced a harsh reality. Let's see where I was. Harsh reality. Success wasn't just about knowledge, it was about connections. Without mentors or networks, I struggled until a nonprofit introduced me to professionals who helped me land my first internship. That single opportunity changed the trajectory of my career, and I've been committed to paying it forward ever since then. So let's try to add Irvin back in to see if he's able to join us. But Tracy, while Irvin is trying to come back in, is there anything else you would like to add to your introduction?
Yes, there's just one small thing I will add. That nonprofit that helped me get my career started, and Irvin is trying to call me back. What do you want me to do?
Okay, yes, go ahead and respond to him, and I'll go ahead and read his bio as well. So go ahead and respond to him. Just mute your mic.
Okay.
Okay, so guys, please bear with us. Irvin Raphael is having some technical issues coming back in, but while we're waiting for him, let me go ahead and tell you a little bit more about Irvin Raphael. So he is a charismatic international business executive with senior leadership experience in diverse businesses, from various aspects of the automotive industry to international logistics. Raphael has a track record of success leveraging his technical savvy and people leadership skills to deliver results by building winning cultures within a wide array of businesses. He credits his deep understanding and passion for the interconnectivity of basic human needs with data, science, and technology, and that has resulted in an award-winning success. Mr. Raphael has held leadership roles in automotive engineering, manufacturing, marketing, and sales with global companies such as Toyota, Stellantis, Hyundai, and Genesis Motor America. He currently serves as Vice President of Revenue at Lucid Motors. He has served as a board advisory at UCLA Health Systems and Westport Fuel Systems, as well as a member of the board of directors of Dignify Holdings and Connected Television Group. He currently serves as a member of the Ohio State University College of Arts and Science Dean's Advisory Council, as well as the chair of the Lantern Network, a 501c3 he co-founded to offer resources and programs uniquely designed to inspire, guide, and propel the next generation of Black leaders into successful careers. So we're continuing to try to add Irvin back into the program, but unfortunately, he is experiencing some technical difficulties. And Tracy's on the phone. Tracy, maybe try to see if he can log in with another device. Maybe try to log in on his phone.
He tried on his phone as well.
Oh, man. And he was just on with us. So I guess he's going to have to keep trying until he gets back in. But you wanted to add something to your introduction?
Yes, the only thing I wanted to add is the help that I received from this nonprofit really changed the trajectory of my career path. And now, because of that, I feel compelled to pay it forward to make sure that our next generation of leaders are equipped and doors of opportunity are opened for them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, excellent. So thank you for adding that. So while we're waiting for Irvin to join us, let me go ahead and tell you what exactly is the Lantern Network. And Tracy, you can feel free to chime in if I miss anything. So let's just begin here. And I like this. You guys posted this earlier today. So I wanted to read it because I think it captures exactly what the Lantern Network is. So by way of introduction, here is what the Lantern Network is all about by reading something I saw posted earlier today. Listen carefully, guys. In the stillness of night, a single lantern glows. Its light, small but unwavering, cuts through the darkness, showing the way forward. Like that lantern, mentorship doesn't erase challenges, but it reveals a path toward purpose, toward possibility. At the Lantern Network, we ignite that light for college students navigating uncertainty, helping them to discover who they are, what they're capable of, and where they're going. But to keep that light burning, we need you. Be part of the spark. And it's a call for donation. I just saw Irvin and he disappeared again. So we're going to keep trying to bring Irvin on. So let me continue. Yeah, here you are, Irvin. We got
Yes.
you.
I am so sorry. It took such a long time.
No worries. That's technology for you.
It is. Thank you so much,
That is-
though. I could hear everything you were saying, and thank you for that great intro. And I am super excited to be here with you, speaking to my own country people and others in the Caribbean. I'm just delighted. Thank you so much.
Yes, definitely. So thank you. And there was nothing else you wanted to add to your introduction? I covered it well?
I think you did a perfect job. Thank you.
Excellent, definitely. So let's carry on. So the mission statement of the Lantern Network is to strengthen America. And we'll also talk about the implications for the Caribbean as well, right? By providing examples of success stories, roadmaps, and resources to young Black Americans so they can realize their dreams and more fully contribute to building our more perfect union. TLN is about empowering young entrepreneurs and college students. The network offers mentorship, internship, entrepreneurship, and professional development uniquely designed to inspire, guide, and propel the next generation of young leaders into their careers. They work to unlock potential and foster economic mobility in our young people. So guys, can you tell I'm really excited that you're here because I've done all my research. I went on LinkedIn, your website, everywhere to get information because I truly believe in your mission. And that is one of the missions here of this program, to turn our passion into action for our people. So let's get the ball rolling. We have a lot to unpack. And again, we want to welcome everyone who's joining us. Don't forget, if you're on Facebook and YouTube, remember to share the live, share this program, and spread it far and wide as we continue to build that capacity that we need for the sustainable development of the Caribbean. So tell us a little bit more about the Lantern Network. And I'm just going to throw the question out to you because I was told a fascinating story of how the Lantern Network came to be. So start with that fascinating story, and both of you can chime in and also tell us why. Why did you decide to start this network? What year? So kind of just give us a little bit of the history, and I'll go ahead and share the program to everyone who's waiting.
Fantastic. I'll go ahead and start, Tracy, if that's okay, and then you feel free to chime in as appropriate. Tracy and I have had the pleasure, and we've been blessed in our careers, and we've had the opportunity to work with so many amazing people who went before us and helped us along our way, and then people we were able to work with and help along their way. And about 5 years ago, we went to see a movie. The movie was Harriet, the story of Harriet Tubman. And without going into all the details, at the end of the movie, we realized, oh my goodness, Harriet Tubman did all of these amazing things, even things you don't know about besides the Underground Railroad, like being the first female to lead a regiment in the army and so on and so forth. And then we realized that she died in 1913, which was not that long ago. And it struck us because Tracy's father, who was quite a bit older when he had her, he was born in 1912. And so he actually walked this earth with Harriet Tubman. So this really was not such a long time ago. In that process, we realized that, at that time, Harriet and others like her were helping folks who were in bondage physically. They were enslaved in the southern part of what is now the United States, and looking for a way out. And there were lots of people who helped them along their way. People like Harriet Tubman, who helped show them the way and inspire them with her songs and her stories and that type of thing. Because if you were born enslaved and your parents were and your grandparents were and so on, you simply can't imagine freedom. You can't imagine what that would be like. What would you do? It doesn't make any sense. And why would you risk your life and that of your family to attain something you can't even imagine? And then there were people along the way who helped them as well. And those people were every race, color, and creed there was, mostly because Black people weren't allowed to own property back then. So there were a lot of people who were non-Blacks who were helping them escape to freedom. And then once they got to New York or Philadelphia or Canada, there were other people there helping them learn how to read and write and learn trades and learn how to fit into society and so on. So it really did take a village to make them successful. And today, thank God, at least to the best of our knowledge, in what is now the United States, we don't have that type of physical slavery, but there is a bondage that still exists, one that's academic and intellectual and certainly economic. And there is still a need for people to help others along their journey. And it clicked for us that this is what we need to do. This is our calling. We can first inspire folks, much like Harriet did with song and with stories, and then we can help guide them by training and development, providing mentors, and then like the folks in New York and Canada and Philadelphia, we can help place them and launch their new lives in this new world of freedom. It's economic freedom, and it allows them to realize their full potential. And that's when we landed on the Lantern Network, and the Lantern was based on the lanterns that were used in the Underground Railroad to help people understand when it's safe to go into a safe house where they can get shelter and hope and provision and guidance and direction for their journey onto freedom. And so we're the Lantern Network, helping people secure economic freedom today in America. And we focus we're very bold about it. We're targeting Black people in America, and a lot of us are from the Caribbean and Africa. Roughly 12 or 13% of the Black people in America are immigrants or children of immigrants. And just like other Americans, we need guidance. We need people to help show us the ropes. We need people to open doors for us. We need mentors. And so this is a really powerful and a great way for us to give back and do just a little bit in modern day. If you can reimagine the Underground Railroad, that's essentially what we're doing. Tracy, anything you want to add?
Mhm.
The only thing I would just want to add to that is it was after that movie that Irvin asked this very bold question, which was, what if the next generation does not have to do it alone? They don't have to do it by themselves. So we created a network of colleges, universities, corporations, individuals, other companies that will help open doors of opportunity for our next generation. And I have to say, it is extremely rewarding. As much as you think about a young person that has a door open for them and they're able to achieve their career goals, just imagine how good it makes the mentor feel when they help open up that door, or having these relationships and you're watching the next generation grow and excel.
Mhm. Yeah, excellent. And just curious, did your own upbringing play a role with regards to the desire to want to create the Lantern Network?
Yeah, I can start with mine. It absolutely did. When I grew up, the people that I looked up to and admired and were in leadership positions looked a lot like me. There was no reason for me to ever think that I couldn't achieve anything because of who I was, what I looked like, or who my parents were. But then I realized that I was really blessed in that way. And for many people in America, that was not the case. And so they had these limitations to live with. And so I looked at myself and I said, well, what makes you different? It's not that I'm smarter or I necessarily work harder or anything like that. The reality is mentally, I am more willing to take those challenges and I know that I can succeed. And I'm willing to fail because I think it's okay. And I don't have the baggage of thinking, boy, if I fail, then I may never get another chance. I wanted to give others those same values because I realized a lot of those feelings were missing with a lot of the people that I mentored and interacted with. And sometimes that, quite frankly, was the difference between failure and success. So yes, it did have a lot to do with myself. Tracy, how about you?
Absolutely. My upbringing, specifically my parents, I feel very, very blessed to have my parents who instilled in us not only hard work and that we would study hard, but they really did not communicate that there's limitations. They actually did the opposite. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. That's the way my parents taught us. And they did control our environment a lot. So we were not in an environment where we were put down or we second guessed ourselves. And so I literally thought that if I want to do it, I can do it. And that is a huge blessing, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And just one thing quickly, Lambi, I completely forgot to greet you. Good evening, Lambi. Lambi will be taking our phone calls later into the program. My apologies, Lambi, for not greeting you earlier. So thank you for being here, Lambi. Yes, so let's dive right into exploring more about what exactly you do. So I know you have pillars and programs. So kind of just walk us through what that looks like in terms of what you actually do within the Lantern Network.
Tracy, as executive director, why don't you take this?
Absolutely. So we have 3 strategic pillars. Our first one is to inspire. And what we do with that pillar of inspiration is light a fire within our target audience, our college students and our aspiring entrepreneurs. We want them to see the possibilities of what they could do, what they could become. And we do this with one of our programs. It's called Streaming Stories. And with Streaming Stories, we're collecting the stories of successful Black Americans or Black people who live in America. And we're communicating these stories to our students because when they can see many different professions, it could spark an idea. For example, my sister is a perfusionist. Most people don't know what a perfusionist is. So when you're asking a young person, what do you want to be when you grow up? Perfusionist is not something that comes out of their mouth. But when they're exposed to various different professions, that inspires them to think, hey, maybe I might like to do that.
So what's a perfusionist?
I do have to answer
I
that
don't know what it is.
So a perfusionist, they work in open heart surgery. The doctor will connect the heart to a heart and lung machine, and the perfusionist monitors the levels of what oxygen and many other components as the surgeon is operating on the heart. So the perfusionist is helping to keep the patient alive while their heart is being operated on.
Interesting.
And she's currently now chief of perfusion at her hospital. Again, we were taught whatever you want to do, you can do it.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
that's our pillar of inspiration. We want to inspire our young people to become who they were created to be. Under our second pillar, which is guidance, Irvin mentioned that earlier. This particular pillar is where we are providing mentorship to our students, where we pair the student with a mentor who's successful in the field that the student is pursuing. And alongside the mentorship, we have soft skill training and development that the students will receive from us. Each student gets a LinkedIn learning profile with the curriculum that they must complete. There's monthly workshops, and in those monthly workshops, this is where they get to practice those soft skills. And along with this guidance, there's also financial literacy. We have one of our very first mentees when we formally had graduate from our program. She said, I never thought I would make this kind of money in my entire life. And we immediately thought, oh my goodness, we hope she doesn't go out and buy hairs and cars and nails and clothes with that money. We need to make sure that she knows what to do with it. So our financial literacy program was born out of that conversation. And I'll tell you more about that financial literacy program. We have an amazing young man that's teaching it. And then our third pillar is propulsion. And this is where it's important for young people to have career experience or job experience. So we help them obtain internships and get them prepared so that they can land their jobs once they graduate. And not only just landing the jobs, because the soft skill development is very critical to success, financial success and career success, because not only do we want them to land those jobs, we want them to thrive in those environments and to be promoted throughout the ranks.
Mm-hmm. Irvin, anything you want to add?
No, I think Tracy summarized it well. I think the key is just to get people to believe in themselves, to imagine themselves being successful in ways that they haven't thought of before. So many times, a lot of Black kids in America believe that sports and entertainment is the only way out, and the reality is that the math doesn't work in your favor. If your escape is through entertainment and sports, some do it, but that's a very, very small percentage. Many, many more have their careers, whether it's in education or engineering or in medicine or law or being a perfusionist or any other career that they might not have heard of. There's thousands of ways out there, and that math does work in your favor. And so that's really what we hope to show, to not only show, but to help them see, to guide them, and then to help place them and make sure that they are successful in their world. Another thing we do is work with companies and helping the companies understand how to best embrace these young people, because they're really change agents. They come in with a different mindset, different thought, way of thinking, and that's what companies need a lot of times. So I can tell you the last 3 companies I've worked for are all excited about working with us because they've seen it firsthand. And there are many others as well. So really excited about it, and excited about the team that we have, and excited to be here.
Yeah, and I can tell that you take a very holistic approach. So I can tell that this is a very well thought out organization in terms of what our young people need and how they need to be inspired, how they need to be guided. But just a quick question that popped into mind as you talked about working with organizations to kind of embrace the young people. Is the threat to the DEI program, is that a threat to what you're doing? Because I know there's been a lot of pushback now with regards to embracing diversity, equity, and inclusive programs. So do you see that as a particular challenge for you, or it hasn't impacted you in any way?
Yeah, well, I can say it definitely is a threat or a challenge. When you think about it, though, there were lots of threats and challenges for the people who were trying to escape slavery and the
Yep.
people who were helping them. And that's why they went underground. They had to do what they had to do, one way or another. And we are as well. So some companies have had to change the names of their programs. Some have had to word things differently. And there's some who really didn't support diversity, equity, and inclusion to begin with, and a lot of them are seeing this as their way out of something that they felt like they were forced to do but didn't really want to. Others are leaning in, and it's the ones who are leaning in that we really want to work with, because those are the ones who would provide a more fertile soil, if you will, for young people getting into the game. So for us, it's almost helping thrift the businesses and the opportunities that are out there, because I can tell you, yes, there's some that are stepping away, but there are plenty that are leaning in as well. And if we look at this as opportunity to display that we, whoever we are, really are the best bet for those companies, that they lean in and they love it. And we don't look at ourselves as, oh, poor us, give us something because of who we are. It is, look what I have to offer, and it would be silly of you not to take me up on this opportunity to help your business, to help your company, because I bring so much value and I can help you create value. And so, yes, it is affecting the way we communicate. It's affecting, in some cases, the companies we work with, but we're nowhere near the point where it's affecting our ability to be impactful.
Excellent. That is great to hear.
Can I add to that?
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes.
The only thing I would just want to add is companies are always looking for excellent talent. And that's what we provide, a pipeline of highly skilled, highly intelligent, aggressive, talented young people. And so they're going to be an asset in whatever company they land in. And it's not because they're brown or black, but it's because they're educated and they're talented.
That's a great point, Tracy, because not to drop names, but we've had more than one company approach us and say, "Oh my God, where did you find these people? Send us more. We need more of them." And that has really been our dream. That's been our marketing plan all along, is that the people that come through the Lantern Network are so good that companies want to support us because they want more like that. So yes, we are selective. Yes, we filter, but we also develop and we encourage and we prepare them with the right mentors, and we prepare them so when they go, they are ready to deliver and make contributions right away, and that is recognized instantly.
We had one intern. This was one of our mentees. Irvin and I were at a car show in California, and we ran into this particular company. It's Infiniti, and we knew one of our mentees did an internship at Infiniti. And so we were talking with one of the vice presidents, and it was like a shot in the dark. Irvin said, we have a mentee in our organization that was doing an internship at your company. And before Irvin got that out of his mouth, the vice president said, "Oh, was it this person?" Wow. And lo and behold, yes, it was. And that, makes our hearts smile. It makes us so glad.
Yeah.
And the rest of the leadership team of Infiniti jumped in and said, "Oh my goodness, you're the people. We know all about you." And she was awesome. And they started telling us all kinds of great stories. And that's what makes us feel really good about what we do. And there are many stories like that. We've had companies come to us and ask us to come in and meet and present with their senior executive team, because they wanted them to hear from us directly, because they're so impressed with the people who are coming through. So we're very, very thrilled, and we feel like we're blessed, not only ourselves, but that the cream of the crop are interested in what we have to offer from the young people's perspective, and the cream of the crop companies are interested in hiring them. And last year we launched an entrepreneurship module, and we are helping just some amazing entrepreneurs out there that I know are just going to go out and own the world.
Yeah, and let me just jump in real quick, because I think it is wonderful that you're now trying to really target our Caribbean region. Because when I went to school at Midwestern State University in Texas, that is the one theme that kept recurring, the outstanding student. The same thing you said, where did you get these people from? Because we had students who were so intelligent, they were acing like organic chemistry, and professors had never seen students ace organic chemistry. So just the caliber of students that were being brought to the university made them question where we had come from. Were we from a different planet? Because they had never seen students so dedicated, committed to excellence. But the sense that we're getting right now from our conversation is what you're offering to these young people, these college students, these entrepreneurs, is the skills that they're not learning in college, right? So we learn a lot of the academic information in college. We learn everything we need, to pass the exams. But where many institutions are lacking is those soft skills that Tracy mentioned before. So for those of us listening and watching this program who are less familiar, what exactly are we speaking to, Tracy, when we talk about soft skills? And then once you're done, I want to also highlight some of your successes before we continue the conversation. So when we say soft skills, what are we talking about?
We're talking about, some people like to call them success skills or durable skills, but we're talking about things like communication, conflict resolution, critical thinking, negotiation, public speaking. We have about 20 different soft skills that we transfer to our students, and we want to move them up the level, not just to understand it, but towards mastery. And then we give them several opportunities to practice, and then they also practice with their mentors as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would add to that, one of the most powerful is financial literacy.
Yes.
Because what we find is a lot of young people get out of school, they're in debt. Even if they're not in debt, they're making more money than they have before. They don't know how to use it. They get into the death spiral, death spiral, and it's so difficult for them. And what this does is help them understand the way money works, so that they can manage their money properly. They can get out of debt, and they can pursue their financial dreams as well. And I say that not because money is the most important, but once they understand that, oh my goodness, I really can get out of this situation I am in, and I really can be financially successful, which allows me to do so many of the other things that I want to do, it gets them super motivated for the rest of their career.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to add on to that. Our financial literacy program is, in my opinion, I know I'm a little bit biased, but I believe it's stellar. I have to tell you about there's a mentee. He's a mentee in our organization who teaches financial literacy. He's a junior at UCLA. He is certified to teach financial literacy. He's studying economics and accounting. He has his Series 6 license, and he manages the wealth of about 80 families. He uses that money to pay for his tuition. Not only does he teach it to our students, but he has a financial literacy club on his campus. So what's powerful about this is that you've got this 21-year-old young man who is highly talented when it comes to managing finances. And when he's teaching his peers, they grab onto it, they hold onto it, they ask a lot of questions, they engage. It's different when they hear me asking them about retirement or telling them the importance of retirement. They think, oh, Miss Tracy's old, she should be thinking about retirement. But when one of their peers who already has a Roth IRA, who is saving for his retirement, that speaks volumes. And the other thing I have to mention about this young man, so he is being mentored by one of Irvin's close friends. He also is of our first mentee that is a reoccurring donor. So he is just absolutely phenomenal, and he's walking the talk, and his trajectory is sky high.
Mhm.
And he's of Caribbean descent as well.
Hey, even better. That's the part I like. Yeah, but earlier you talked about the workshops, Tracy. So for those who are listening, and I know a lot of people will be interested in this, what is the format of the workshop? So is it via Zoom, via technology, or is it a classroom environment? How do you conduct the workshops?
We are 100% virtual. So there's pre-work. They will have a LinkedIn learning course that they have to complete. There's monthly workshops that happen through Zoom. And during the workshops, there's a little bit of instruction, but most of it is to create these breakout rooms where they can practice and have case studies that they're working on together in a group.
Mm-hmm. Yes, excellent. So in general, because we know our young people are facing many challenges in this world today, but if you had to give us an idea of just some of the challenges that you're finding with working with young people, like the reoccurring themes of challenges, and I'm sure one of them must be finances, but just some of the challenges that the young people that you work with are facing.
There's something that they taught me. I hadn't actually heard of it, this terminology. You probably have heard of it before, but I hadn't heard of it until I spoke with them. But they call it imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
They don't feel like they belong. My generation is fake it till you make it. I guess that's another version of imposter syndrome. So what we have to really help them with is help them to understand that yes, you do belong. And through the teaching of these soft skills, when they're able to communicate effectively and they can ask intelligent questions and they can build professional relationships, that helps to alleviate some of that imposter syndrome that they are experiencing. The other thing is they do really think differently. There's some situations that I probably would have thought completely different than they think about it. Some of the challenges that just that demographic, this is not specifically Lantern Network students, but that demographic struggles with is showing up on time, finishing their projects on time, taking ownership of the work that's in front of them. Sometimes they think if I send an email, then hey, I've done my part, not driving it to completion. And this is in general what the workforce in corporate America is saying about college graduates. And so that's where we're fitting into that niche and trying to bridge that gap with our students. So when they get into the workforce, that's not a problem for them.
Mm-hmm. And is there a role for social media? Because I know social media is a big aspect of the lives of our young people, and those of us who are not so young. But what is there a role for social media in everything that you're doing?
Let me make sure I understand that question. Is it a role for us to use social media?
No, is there a role for them promoting themselves in terms of getting themselves out into the work world? They're encouraged to, social media, kind of reconceptualizing social media. Instead of posting what you had for dinner last night, post your successes so you might get a job. I know LinkedIn is a great opportunity for that, but in general.
Absolutely. All of our mentees have a LinkedIn profile. We have someone that actually used to work for LinkedIn that does group coaching, and they help our students. This gentleman helps our students to set up a well-polished LinkedIn profile so that they're branding themselves appropriately, because our students do know that whatever you put out on the internet, whether it's good or bad, it's out there. And companies are filtering through that, making decisions as to if they want to bring you into the company or not. But we do use social media, specifically LinkedIn, because of the LinkedIn Learning. And it is just a great way to promote yourself to find internships and jobs.
Yeah, and it's even more important for our Caribbean students because now we're being told that your Facebook is going to be monitored for the past 5 years when you're applying for a visa to come to the States. So just, appealing to the young people, be very careful what you're putting out there because, again, social media is going to be looked at very closely in some very important decisions. Anything you wanted to add at this point, Irvin, before I talk about some of your successes?
Let me add one more thing.
Go
Sorry,
ahead,
honey. Not only are the employers looking at social media, but the colleges and universities are looking at your social media as well.
Yes.
So young students that are listening, the admissions directors are looking at your social media. So you want to make sure you always have your best foot forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, not only that, but the social media sends a message of your character. It sends a message of values, and those are things that are really hard to decipher in an interview. And so a lot of companies, including companies I've worked for, very large companies, look at social media, and it informs their decision about whether or not this is a person they want to have on their team. So we encourage them to be very careful about how you dress, what kind of things you say, what's important, but also on the positive side to really tout academic success, tout your internships that you've had, tout presentations you've made, things like that. So you show up using the right tags. So you show up when people are streaming for success in these various areas. The other thing before we go on is a lot of times you're asking about some of the opportunities we find interpersonal skills. People who are 18 to 25 years old today, they spend so much time on social media and video games and things like that. They've lost the ability, and maybe they never had the ability to interact with human beings in a professional setting and present to individuals, real life, having a business dinner, things like that. And I'm not saying it's across the board, but there is some of that. And so these are some of the things that we also help them hone in those skills.
Yes, fantastic. So let me highlight some of your successes to date, and then you can feel free to add anything else. And guys, I see you guys are coming in on the Facebook Live. Keep those comments coming. If you want to be acknowledged, you're on Facebook and YouTube, but you're quiet and you want to be acknowledged for being here, just post a simple comment. Tell us hi, say where you're listening and joining in from. We see quite a few people on the social media. So guys, keep coming in and keep posting your comments. I'll take them in a little while. Okay, so at the Lantern Network, we've mentored 375 plus young professionals, with 87% securing internship jobs or promotions, secured major funding from the NBA Foundation and Truist Bank, built partnerships with Detroit Pistons, Duluth, Hyundai, Motor Americas, Our Evolution, JD Power, and more, launched an entrepreneurship program helping founders generate real revenue and business growth, career growth and learning. We are dedicated to creating a more inclusive, competitive, and enjoyable society for all by promoting economic and educational freedom and creating opportunities for underserved youth. So mentorship programs, streaming stories, mentorship program mentorship, and streaming stories program. So kind of tell us a little bit more about those successes, especially that NBA Foundation, that grant, because I think that was a recent development. Correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of tell us all about your successes to date.
So just to highlight a couple, we were awarded 2 grants last year, and one was from the NBA Foundation, which we're extremely proud of. So we not only received the financial support, but we've been able to build relationship with some of the NBA teams. And that's how we started with our entrepreneurship program in Detroit. We had a number of young people come into our entrepreneurship program, and they were specifically in the area of Detroit. We partnered with the Detroit Pistons. They gave us their facility so that we could use it and help teach those students how to run a successful business. And just one quick success story that came out of that. There's a young woman who had a merchandise company. There was products that she sold through the TikTok. I believe she used TikTok. She was able to implement some of the teachings and some of the principles specifically around marketing. And within 3 months, her sales were $112,000. And so we paired her with a mentor who was able to provide her with more guidance. What we have found, and we know through research, this specifically through McKinsey, is when a young entrepreneur, an aspiring entrepreneur, can be mentored by someone that's already successful in the industry that they're pursuing, they're 5 times more likely to succeed.
Yep. Excellent. Evan, anything you want to add?
No, I think Tracy hit the nail on the head. You might wonder why, like the NBA Foundation would
Yes.
support us, because I already made it very clear that we are very open about saying that we want people to consider other alternatives than playing sports or entertainment. Well, the reality is there are lots of different roles. In fact, most people in the NBA don't play basketball.
Mhm.
They're doing marketing. They're lawyers. They're business managers. They're doing things like that. But also, if you're an NBA team and you're working with your local community, the reality is, how many of those young people are actually going to end up in the NBA? I'll tell you, it's a very small number. But you can help the community by getting them involved in other ways and inspiring them so that they can be successful in many ways. And when the community is successful, they're also able to turn around and help the team. So it's very important. But we've had a number. Truist Bank is another one. If you're in the banking industry, what do banks do? Well, they're in the business of money. If people don't have money, guess what? The banks don't have business. So it is in their interest to help us get the next generation inspired so that they can be economically successful and keep the money turning as well, because that's how the banks make money. So it's really helping themselves as they help others. And I'm just delighted. Those are only two. There have been others. We've had individuals who have made very significant donations to the Lantern Network. And then there are many, many people who have given a very small amount, but in aggregate, it's very substantial. So we're just excited. This year alone, we hope to put 200 people through our program, pair them with mentors, and get them along their way. And quite frankly, I'm plagued with this thing I call divine discontent. I always think there's more that we can do. I feel like there's so many people who need help that 200 is just a drop in the bucket. For us, we see exponential growth, and we're just thrilled. For us, this is what we want on our tombstone. We want this to be the way we help the world.
Yeah.
Simone, the list of companies that you named, they are financial supporters of the Lantern Network at various amounts. Those companies are also interested in having our students come as interns or hiring our students after they graduate. There's lots of success that we've had, not only financially, but those people that want to come in and be mentors. Being a mentor doesn't take a lot. It's just 1 hour virtually a month. And the impact that you have is just tremendous. We have mentors that are in Canada. There's a judge who is in Canada who's mentoring one of our students who aspires to become a judge. And that relationship is so beautiful. The mentor calls and she says, you know what? I get so much more out of these conversations than the student gets out of it. And the student loves the mentor just as much. So it's a beautiful thing all the way around.
Yeah, and I wanted to talk about the qualifications for being a mentor as well, and we have so much more to unpack. But I just want you guys to take a moment and just kind of reflect on the journey so far, and just tell us, how do you feel about what you've done from the inception of the idea, watching the Harriet Tubman movie, and then was this what you envisioned? So kind of just give us a little bit of a reflection of where you started, and when we all start something new, there's always a level of uncertainty. Do we think this is going to work? Is this the right thing to do? Is it worth investing the resources and all that stuff? So kind of just tell us, how do you feel at this point?
Tracy, why don't you go first?
I will start. I might embarrass you a little bit, Irvin. I absolutely am ecstatic as to where we are now, but I know, like Irvin said, I know we can do more. In starting out, my background is corporate America. I've worked for several Fortune 100 companies in many different functions: accounting and finance, human resources, procurement, sales, and so forth. And I've had my own businesses as well. So leaving that behind and starting this, it again is kind of looking down a dark hallway. You don't know exactly what it's going to look like. But there's one thing that I do know. I know when you set out to help people and you're giving to someone, something good almost always comes out of that. So I never had any doubt that it wouldn't be successful. I never had any doubt that it wouldn't be impactful. And as I see and work with the students today, I love all of them. My heart melts. Sometimes Irvin says, I'm a Lantern Network widower because all I want to do is talk about the Lantern Network and the young people. And then Irvin says, you can't bring all of the young people home because I want to just move them into the house. I truly, truly love each and every one of them. And to watch them grow and achieve their dreams, I feel like I'm a mother to many.
Very, very well said, Evan.
Yeah, and when you think back to just 5 years ago, just an idea, there's very few times in life you get to imagine something that doesn't exist, bring it to life, and watch it become something much larger than you imagined. And here we are 5 years later, and I truly feel like we're just getting started. I feel like the growth potential is exponential in literally every way. And I won't spend time talking about myself, but there are lots of things you could Google and you would think these things are, boy, this is absolutely amazing. This is the most amazing thing I believe I've done career-wise. And looking at the next generation who are coming out of this, for me, it's just going to be so good to look at them and think maybe the Lantern Network had a little something to do with their success, because it is absolutely amazing listening to some of our mentees come through the program, watching their success, watching their businesses, and then watching them help others. We've had sessions where they've come together and formed strategic partnerships. And I'm thinking, wow, at that age, I didn't even know what that meant. And this is absolutely amazing. So it's great. It's great to be a part of something like this. It's something that I take great pride in talking about and sharing with others. Everybody who knows me knows about the Lantern Network. Because this is what it's about. So folks can follow us. Follow us on LinkedIn, for example. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook, because we're showing the success of these great people. And if you're a potential mentee, look at LinkedIn. Maybe you'll see others that you can associate with, and you'll think, oh my goodness, this is amazing. These are people, this is the experience I want. Or maybe you're a mentor. Take a look at these potential mentees. They are all amazing, 100% of them. We are really selective, and we go through a group interview process to make sure that people, they're not only smart and hardworking, but they have the stick-to-itiveness to succeed in life. These are the folks that we're after, so we can help give them what they need and open doors for them.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tracy.
We know that, like we have the slogan, each one teach one, 87% of people that have been mentored become mentors. Because someone has poured into you, 87% of those people will pour into someone else. So we know that we're the first drop that creates the ripple that will reverberate throughout generations. And we're just super excited to be a page in their journey.
Yeah, and I can't help it, because as I'm listening to you speak, I'm thinking of my own college experience coming from Dominica and moving up here to the US. And I'm thinking these opportunities not only transform the individual life, right? But what it does is it changes the trajectory of the generation that comes after them and the next generation if they continue it. Because now looking at my daughter and the opportunity she has to be born and raised in this country, nothing being wrong with being born and raised in the Caribbean and elsewhere, but just knowing that I didn't have the opportunity she now has because I was given an opportunity to transform my life. So are you thinking of it along those lines as well? And we're going to come to take the phone calls in a little while, Lambi. But are you thinking about it as well? Because you're not just investing in this generation, you're investing in changing the trajectory of the lives of their future generations. Have you thought about that?
I do all the time. And before I
Yep.
talk about that, let me give a shout out to Reggie Vigilant, who just sent me a note and said, great radio program. He's listening in. Reggie happens to
you.
be one of our mentors. He's one of our supporters. He's a fellow Dominican.
Mhm.
He is CEO of Omni Systems, which is a huge
Yep, I know him. He's been on the
IT
program.
and,
He's been on the
and
program.
Reggie is just a hero, right?
Yes.
And to have somebody like Reggie associated with us, absolutely exciting. But to get back to your question, you just need a critical mass to change the trajectory of an entire community, an entire island, an entire culture. And that's the way I see this. I see this as just creating the critical mass that'll help get us there. When we get together with our fellow mentees and mentors and supporters, there is no better feeling. There are people who are so excited. I don't know who's more excited, if it's the mentors or the mentees, the companies who are sponsoring us. It is an absolute party because we can see the future, and the future is bright. And we love it. But you are absolutely correct, Simone. What we're doing here is really changing the trajectory of an entire demographic of people covering many different countries. And I'm going to be a little bit biased here, but it's based in fact. You know, when you inspire a bunch of people, especially from the Caribbean, you're going to inspire the whole world.
Oh, absolutely.
That's where we are. And so I'm super excited about it and what we're doing and what we're doing for, I not only refer to in America, Black people, it's not underprivileged. It's not underserved. It's really underestimated. And this is the issue, is that we tend to be underestimated. What we want to do is create an environment where we can no longer be underestimated, because we are going to be leaders in corporate America. We're going to be leaders in our own businesses that we own and we develop from scratch. We're going to be the people teaching the next generation to grow. And I'm just thrilled about being a part of that.
Yeah, Tracy, thank you. I'm Irvin.
I think Irvin has kind of covered it all.
Good, excellent. He said it perfectly. So let's go over to the radio, but to the studio, so we can invite our callers, and we're going to come and take your Facebook comments as well. But before we do, again, you're listening to Roots Connections on Q, and we're happy to be joined by the Lantern Network. We're joined by Mr. and Mrs. Tracy and Irvin Raphael, who are the co-founders of the Lantern Network. And it is a network all about equipping young professionals and entrepreneurs with the tools to achieve financial independence. And if you've missed any portion of the program, always remember you can catch the replay. You can go on YouTube and Facebook and simply type in Q95 FM radio, and you will be able to catch the replay of the program, because you certainly don't want to miss that fascinating story. That's actually the most fascinating story I've ever heard. I've been doing this program for 4 years, and I've had many organizations join me, but that is the number one fascinating story I've ever heard in terms of the inspiration for starting a movement, starting an organization. So guys, congratulations on your success to date. We have a lot more to unpack, but before we do, let's go over to Lambi in the Q95 FM studio so he can invite everyone to call in if they wish to do so.
The numbers are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257. Those are local numbers. The overseas number, 305-432-9624. Let me run those one more time. 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257, and 305-432-9624. And we're standing by for calls. Back to you, Simone.
Yes, thank you, Lami. So again, thank you everyone who's joining us via Facebook and YouTube Live. We have my friend here, Carl Kofi James. Always great to see you, Carl. He says greetings and blessings, Simone and panelists. Dr. Kevin Laura, nice to see you. Nice to see you on board. Durable skills are a must, and we want to thank Dr. Laura. He's on the forefront of serving the men. We have a crisis of men in Dominica, where many of our young men are unfortunately disengaged, and we see increasing rates of crime and violence in Dominica. So Dr. Kevin Laura is on the forefront, and he's actually going to be my guest in the coming weeks as we talk about the Men's Symposium and what he continues to do to empower our young men in Dominica. So Dr. Laura, thank you for being here. Bevy Leb say, yes, they are lacking the skills to take them across the bridge where they can transfer the knowledge to make decisions. This program is a bridge model. Thank you, Debbie, for that. Father Franklin Cuffey, Father, great to have you on board. He says, I'm following. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Again, if you're watching and you want to be acknowledged, just let us know where you're joining us from. So back to our panel, Tracy and Irvin. So let's talk about qualifications to be recruited into the program. How do you recruit the young people into the program? And then we also want to look at qualifications for being a mentor in the program. So anyone can feel free to jump in. The qualifications for the young people, age range, education level, how are you recruiting them?
Excellent. I'll take that. So our age range is 18 to 24-year-old college students, and you can aspire to be anything that you want from a career perspective, except if you want to become a professional football players, basketball players, something like that in the sports arena. We don't take students like that. Or if you want to become an entertainer, like the next Beyonce, that we don't take those that have those aspirations as well. However, if you do want to work on the business side of the entertainment industry or anything else, whether you want to become a doctor, an attorney, an accountant, an engineer, we take all professions because we don't want to guide them into a particular profession. We want them to go where they're called to go, where they desire to be, and we want to help them achieve success at that level. The only thing that we ask is that you have to have at least a 3.0 GPA in order to be considered, and we have a panel interview. So there are a few volunteers that are interviewing our students. We have a rubric, and we're looking for a certain type of person. You don't have to have it all figured out. That's why we're here. But we want a student who is dedicated to their own growth, that is resilient, someone that can fall down and will pick themselves back up, because unfortunately, there is a group of people that become saddened, depressed, and disengaged. With our program, it's free to the student, but there is a cost to it. So we need to make sure that those students that we bring through the program are dedicated to their own future and dedicated to their own growth so that we can invest financially into them. From a recruiting standpoint, we recruit from a few different sources. One source is on LinkedIn. We have an internship opportunity, so students apply from that perspective. We go to career fairs around the country. So there's certain colleges and universities that we show up and we talk to prospective mentees, telling them about the program. They're already there looking to engage with a particular company, and you may be surprised at the number of students that are even unprepared when they show up looking for a job at a college fair. So it's a wide net that we can bring students in from that perspective. And my favorite way and the most productive way, in my opinion, is we have student ambassadors. One of our students who is Nigerian, he's on the College of Grambling University. He just decided he wanted to host an event where he brought his community in, and he stood up for an hour and he talked about the Lantern Network. So through this young man, he's probably brought in about 15 students there on campus. So word of mouth is actually the best way that we bring in our students, because when someone can say, this is what I've gotten out of the organization, and they share it with their friends, we can grow exponentially.
The
Yeah.
only thing I would add to that, Tracy, is because we're limited as to the number of people we can support. This year it's only 200, so we're still selective. So what Tracy just described is our minimum requirements, but out of that we will be the most selective, because we really want to give the opportunity to the most qualified, the hungriest, and of course those who come first. So applying early and doing the best that you can in what you can control so far gives you the best opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm really happy to hear that an entrepreneurship leg to this program has been created, because especially as we look towards Dominica, the Caribbean region, and we'll talk about that in just a little bit, what that would look like, I think it is an important consideration, because we have limited jobs in Dominica. And so what a lot of the young people have done is turn to self-employment, entrepreneurship. But again, a lot of them are starting from scratch. There's no one to mentor them. There's no one to provide guidance, because what you find is that there's a lot of competition on the island. So those who know keep the information to themselves, because they're afraid that if they mentor somebody, that person becomes their competition, right? So there's certainly a need for something like the Lantern Network in terms of being able to offer mentorship. And speaking of which, for the last 4 years, that has been my vision from Roots Connection. So I'm always thinking, what's next, right? So like you, Irvin, I'm always thinking what I'm doing is not enough, right? So I've been always thinking, and I actually started working with someone, but unfortunately, you start working with folks and then you look for them 2 weeks later and you get crickets. So unfortunately, it did not happen. But this has been my vision for Roots Connections. I have amassed a large database of former guests, very qualified guests in different areas. And my hope has always been to use that database of people we know are interested in investing in our people and in our country, and tap into their potential, harness their skills, harness their expertise, so that we can continue for the sustainable development of our island by investing in our people. So I'm very happy, and I would be more than willing to partner with the Lantern Network, even beyond what we're doing. But just a very quick question. So how long does a particular student remain in the program? So they come in, they're recruited, and then what is the length of their stay in the program?
Our program is 12 months.
Okay.
So our students will, after they're interviewed and they're accepted into the program, they go into an orientation, and then they go into a group mentoring session along with starting the workshops. And from that group mentoring session, we pair them with their one-on-one mentor. Mm-hmm. There was a question that you did ask is, what are we looking for in mentors? We're looking for mentors from various different industries, mm-hmm. because our student population are studying various different industries. And we just are looking for a mentor who's willing to have 12 virtual conversations with the student. We teach the mentee to drive that mentoring relationship. So it's the mentee's responsibility, the student's responsibility to schedule the meetings, mm-hmm. to have an agenda, mm-hmm. to have questions. Yep. And so they drive the conversation. That teaches them to lead. And it takes the pressure off of the mentor, because mentors are busy. And we just want them to be able to share their knowledge, what it's like working in that industry's different opportunities, as well as things to watch out for to help that student get their start. That's what we're looking for from mentors.
Yeah, and I like that it is mentee driven. I think that is very important, because again, in my own experiences trying to help young people in Dominica, and it almost feels like you're pulling teeth. And that shouldn't be the case, because I have something you want, right? So why should I be chasing you around to help you? So I think it is very important that it is mentee driven, that you're the person responsible for setting up the meetings, coming with your questions. If you can't make the meeting, rescheduling the meeting, because that is how you build professionalism, right? Anything you would like to add, Irvin?
Funny you say that because it is a bit of a microcosm of the real world. In the
Yes.
real world, I have stopped using the word training or trainers. I call it learning. So there are learning organizations. That's an organization that allow you to learn. The onus is on you to learn. It's on you to seek help. It's on you to pursue growth. And too many times, I think we find people who are sitting around waiting for somebody else to come spoon feed them, to chase them down, to get them to eat what they need to eat, figuratively speaking, in this case. And so, 100%, I think it's really important that it is mentee driven. And the ones who I have not had a single mentee say, I've been trying to get a hold of my mentor, and they told me, well, they already met with me once this month, so that's all I get. Never. The mentors are excited when mentees are hungry and they want to meet and they want to work and they want to develop. The mentors are happy. They are thrilled. They'll meet with them more. But if they have to chase you around, mentors don't want to do that. They don't have time for that. These people are very successful. They have other things to do, and they're actually volunteering their time to help. And so it's very important that the mentees take ownership.
Yeah,
One of the
excellent.
things that
Yes.
we teach as well, we teach the mentee how to be a good mentee. And you don't always have to ask someone formally, would you please be my mentor? Now, we're going to pair you, but in the future, you can be mentored by someone and they never even know that they are your mentor. So we teach them all of these different ways that you can learn and get the information that you need to help you succeed.
Yes, excellent. And we're seeing more people coming in. Alvin Thomas, good evening, neighbor here in Atlanta. He said he was at another meeting, but he just joined. Alvin, always great to have you on board. Julius Corbett, nice to see you. Greetings, my beloved nephew. Julius Corbett is your uncle? He said,
Yes, he is.
oh,
Uncle
okay.
Julius.
Excellent. So Uncle Julius is here. Yes, but guys, another question that comes to mind is screening of the mentors. So we all know, unfortunately, there are some people with nefarious intentions out in the world. So is there besides being qualified to be a mentor, the mentors are screened, and then the pairing of the mentors, do we do male and female and female? So just more information about what that looks like.
So maybe I'll start with that, and then Tracy, you can fill in. We think that our brand, the brand of the Lantern Network, is super valuable. We just can't afford to have one person or two with bad intentions ruin that brand. So yes, we do screening, we do background checks, and we tell folks, if you don't want us to run your background check, then you just can't be a mentor. That's the way it is. Because when I see these young people come into the program, Tracy and I have kids are of our own. They happen to be a little older than this age group, but we would not want anything to happen to them. And so I take responsibility personally, as does Tracy, for the young people in our program. So yes, and it does cost money. Which is, some people ask, well, what do you do with the money, the donations? That's a part of it. That's a part of it. It does cost money to do the background checks and so on, but we think it is well worth it. Secondly, we only allow men to mentor boys and women to mentor girls. Now, that doesn't mean that men mentoring boys or women mentoring girls, and you can't have bad things happen as well. But I think it just reduces the likelihood significantly. And this also doesn't mean that in the real world, you can't mentor somebody of a different gender. Of course you can. We can mentor people of different genders. We can mentor people who of different races, religion, sexual orientation, of course, all of that stuff. But in this program, we are very conservative in pairing. We want to preserve the integrity of the Lantern Network and the relationships thereof. And so, yes, we're very selective. Tracy, you might want to talk a little bit about the pairing process.
Yes. So there is a profile that the mentor and the mentee will fill out. Our first pairing that Irvin mentioned already is males with males, females with females. Then the second cut is we're looking for someone who's successful in the field that the student is pursuing. So if you're studying cybersecurity, we want to pair you with someone who is working in cybersecurity. And then after that, there's hobbies that the mentor and the mentee both fill out. So our system, we use a system called Mentor City. That platform will help us begin to make the best pairings, because when you pair two people together, they do have to get along. We do think about some people might be more dominant or extroverted versus introverted. And so we want to make sure that we're pairing the student with someone that they can really learn and grow from and not be afraid of. You're on mute, Simone.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Yes. So I know we talked about the importance of technology, but if the mentor and the mentee lives in the same area, are they encouraged to meet face to face, or is the preference for virtual meetings?
The preference is actually virtual, but there's nothing against them meeting face to face. What we do have, the way we have it set up, is they meet through our Mentor City platform. So there's a lot of safety involved,
Right.
where that means that the mentor doesn't have the mentee's cell phone number and vice versa. So they will everything happens, the invitations, the emails, all the communication will go through text messaging, as well as the Zoom meeting happens within the platform. But most of the time, I can't say that we have one pairing that's in the same city as of right now. Most of the time, when you're looking for someone that's successful in the field and has the time to actually mentor, it is that the mentor and mentee are in different cities in different states. And that's how we can get the best of the best for our mentees.
And also, just to reiterate, so this is completely free to the mentees, right? There's no charge involved, because we want to encourage people to become a part of this. So there's no fees involved. This is a completely free service that is being offered to our mentees. And I want to talk about
and Simone, it's also free to the mentors.
And to the
It's
mentors,
free
of
to
course. Yes, and I want to talk about the implications for Dominic and the Caribbean region. But I'm also curious, what has been the feedback from those who've gone through the program? So I want to hear, some testimonials, what folks have said about how this has impacted their lives. So any stories you can share with us? I know you've shared a few, but any more that come to mind?
Tracy, you might have some specific quotes there if
you tell one of the stories, maybe tell the story from the dinner that we had, and I'll find a quote from one of our students.
Yeah, and there are so many stories, because every one of these comes with a story. And I have to tell you, Simone, I'm not a good person to ask for these stories, because every time I hear the stories from the mentees, it brings tears to my eyes. So because it's so meaningful. I remember a young lady making a pitch saying that she feels such a sense of responsibility because of the difference the Lantern Network has made in her life, that she feels like she herself, her success is the return on investment that our donors get. You make this donation, you're really investing in the future. What is the future? It's us, she said. It's me. So I feel this sense of responsibility to deliver a return on your investment. We've had others. I think Deloitte has been a huge benefactor, because I believe we're up to 4 or 5 people who have gone to Deloitte. Now I think Deloitte is actively hunting for Lantern Network graduates. Deloitte is involved in all kinds of consulting around the globe. What a phenomenal company to be associated with. But very similarly, Deloitte has come to us, and they basically turned over their jobs, their entry-level job list, and said, if you have any interns for any of these jobs, we'll take them, because we're batting 1,000 right now. Everybody we've gotten for the Lantern Network has been a huge hit.
Yeah,
Tracy,
what an honor, right?
Absolutely. Tracy, do you have some
Yes,
testimonials?
There is one person in particular. She is a young woman that just graduated with her MBA, and she is she's getting ready to sit for her CPA.
Sorry,
And
Tracy, you can use the first name. Simone, we try to be very protective of the private privacy, but if you have the first name, you can use it just to make it real.
okay, so young woman, her name is Mariah. She is an amazing young woman who just got her MBA. She's working for a CPA firm, getting ready to sit for her CPA exam coming up here soon. And she came to a fundraising dinner that we had. We just sent it out to all of the people in our area, and she happened to be just one of them. And she said she called and asked if she could come. And of course, she really enjoyed herself. She networked. She made some really good connections. And then at the end of the night, she comes up to me and she says, "You know what? Because the next day was a golfing event. I'm going to golf tomorrow." And the first thing I thought was, "Well, did you register to golf?" She said, "No, I didn't register." "Do you have golf clubs?" "No, I don't have golf clubs." And she's never golfed before. And I said, come with me. You can be with me, and I'll make sure that we get you paired with a good team where she could just get exposure. That's what she really wanted. She wanted the exposure, and she had such a great experience. She had never been to a country club before, and so now she is taking up the game of golf. She's understanding how it can help her from a business perspective, and then she had the chance to spend 4 hours with. Actually, we had her with Sam Raphael's team.
Mhm. Yep, excellent. Well, thank you for that. Definitely, thank you for that. And as we're having this conversation, the one recurring thought that keeps coming through my mind is relationships matter. Relationships matter because that is how we build networks. That is how we advance our lives. And I'm very proud because I just only Monday, that 2 days ago, I was officially inducted into the Rotary Club of Henry County. And I am so very proud because I know this is going to be a tremendous opportunity to impact our community, but also to meet community leaders and to network and to grow beyond where I am right now. So very excited. So let us talk about Vision 2025, and then let's kind of all rope it into what is your vision? How are we taking this to the Caribbean to reach more Caribbean students and to positively impact the Caribbean region? So tell us about Vision 2025.
Okay, I'll go. I think we're both waiting. I think we're both waiting at each other.
Yeah.
I want to speak specifically about Tracy will go over the broader Vision 2025. I want to speak specifically about the Caribbean, and
Yeah.
that is because that's my home. When I go home, I don't feel like I'm vacationing in some exotic place. It is pretty exotic. It is pretty cool. We have the most amazing fruit and food and water and people, but it's home. And when I see people who are successful and people who are hungry and willing to work, it reminds me of myself. It reminds me of my dad. It reminds me of the people I know who have laughed and who have boldly taken the steps to do what they need to do to realize their dreams, and especially when they can turn around and help others. So it's super excited. So that's why we're partnering. We'll be doing a lot of work. You'll see through Jungle Bay and the organization there, but there are other organizations and schools throughout the region. I was just in the Virgin Islands last week working with the university there as well, because that was just a smorgasbord. I saw some amazing younger students at a summer camp based on STEM. And when I met these young people, I thought this is the future of science, technology, and engineering and math. And they were, and the future was very, very bright. So for me, that's a very rich pool of potential candidates for the Lantern Network to blend in with all of the others. I have to tell you, however, there are some absolutely amazing people from Africa as well, and directly from the African diaspora, from Nigeria, from Ghana, Sierra Leone, a lot of places there, and they're African American. So I just feel like we're opening doors for people who are willing to put in the work and all they need are doors open and a few introductions, and they know that the responsibility is theirs to take the ball from here to there. So as we pursue this year, last year we graduated 103. Tracy, you can correct me. I believe
That's
that's the
correct.
number, 103 people last year. And like I said, this year we're going for 200, and I truly see exponential growth. 400 the following year, 800 the year. That's the kind of growth that I see, because we're far from running out of young people, and we're far from running out of mentors. In fact, we have many people who have volunteered to be mentors and are yet to be paired, because when you only pair 200 people and you've got 1,000 who want to be volunteers, mentors, now you have to get the best match, and some people don't have any mentees as yet, and say, just hold on, just hold tight, we're coming, because there's lots of people there. Tracy, you want to talk about a 2025 plans in particular?
Yes, I will. So I'm going to start by moving back, because Irvin talked about doubling year over year. And that's exactly what we've done. When we started in 2022, when we actually started bringing in mentees, we had 25 mentees. And then the next year in 2023, we doubled. Last year, our goal was 100. We graduated 103. Our goal this year is 200. And so, as Irvin said, our plan is to double every year. We're expanding our entrepreneurship program. We had our first program last fall, and it was in partnership with the Detroit Pistons. But now we have plans to partner with the Orlando Magic and the Atlanta Hawks. So those are some part of our expansion as it relates to our entrepreneurship program. From a streaming stories perspective, we have to double down and begin to collect even more stories. We tapered off a little bit, but this is the year that we're picking up the baton to make sure that we can capture more and more stories that we can share with our students. One of the things that we have planned, it won't happen this year. We talked about the fact that we will target college students, we'll target aspiring entrepreneurs, but there's still another group of students that want to develop a trade. And you can earn a six-figure income developing a trade. And if that's your aspiration, you can still create generational wealth. That's what we're planning for this year and beyond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was interesting that you mentioned the partnership with Jungle Bay. So I wanted to get some more information about this. But if everyone who's listening is kind of curious as to why Irvin Raphael sounds just like Sam Raphael, because you keep talking and I'm like, I'm hearing Sam's voice. And we just want to say thank you to Sam Raphael, because he was the one who connected us. So, I always say I don't do this program alone. The success of this program is not because of me only, but the very resourceful people who continue to support the program. And so we want to thank Mr. Sam Raphael out of Jungle Bay for putting us, connecting us so we can showcase the important work that you're doing for youth development, youth empowerment, and just investing in the next generation. So do you have any ideas on what that partnership with Jungle Bay would look like? We have a lot of people listening in Dominica and across the world who have relatives in Dominica, and they're thinking, wow, this would be a great opportunity for a young person I know in Dominica. So do you have any details on what that would look like, when that would start?
So Simone, you put me on the spot here. I think between us and the team at Jungle Bay, we would like to make a joint announcement at the appropriate time. So I don't want to preempt that. But yes, Sam is my brother. And Sam has been a hugely successful entrepreneur. We hail from Belleville, Chopin. Yes, Jean Belleville. And we are super excited about our ability to get back in our own way. So stay tuned. Some really good things. And by the way, I don't want anybody to get the impression that you have to pick between being having a trade or getting a college degree or being an entrepreneur. You can be all of them. You can combine them. When we think of, I just spoke about Reggie earlier. Reggie went to college and he happens to be an entrepreneur as well. I did the same thing, and I work in corporate America, but The reality is I am an entrepreneur. I just get to do it inside of large companies and I get to grow and create businesses. And that's what excites me. And you can have a trade and have your own business and grow that business to whatever you want it to be. So I just wanted to clarify that it's not one or the other. It's just about what your interest and your desired path is right now.
And it's amazing having Alvin Thomas on
Yes.
the Facebook Live, because he too is a very resourceful person, very passionate Dominican. And he was actually at the lunch we were having when Sam mentioned the Lantern Network and putting us together. So Alvin, as always, thank you for your for being a patriotic Dominican and always being willing and available to contribute to what we're doing. So
Much respect to Alvin. Much respect.
Yes, definitely. Tracy, anything you would like to add at this point?
No, not now.
Yes. So the other question that comes to mind, is there an opportunity while we're kind of developing that program, that partnership with Jungle Bay, is there an opportunity for folks who are outside of Dominica to mentor those who are on the ground? Because that is certainly an area that is needed in Dominica as well. So is that a possibility?
Well, since the mentoring is virtual for the
Right.
most part, it is 100% a possibility. We have people who are much further away from, than Dominica, who are mentors and mentees who never see each other in the 3D. In the real world, it's an entire virtual relationship. So 100%, it's absolutely possible, and we encourage it.
And what I'll do, I'll share your contact information before we head out, so folks will have a way of contacting you. But Tracy, if you had to make an appeal, so this is your sales speech, if you had to make an appeal for both mentees and mentors to come aboard and join the Lantern Network, what would you say?
I'm going to first address the mentors. I would say to any professional out there that you don't want to leave this world with your talents and your gifts bottled still inside of you. Let's leave empty. And one great way to empty that out is to spend a little bit of time with the next generation. That's a legacy for you. Just imagine you're able to pour a piece of yourself into someone else. They grab a hold of it and then they multiply it. And even after you're gone, you're still living on through the works of someone else. And guess what? That young person is going to do the same thing. So it's a ripple effect. It's going to multiply. That's my appeal to mentors. And I definitely have to tell you this, potential mentors, you will not regret it. You will be rewarded so greatly just internally of being able to watch and inspire and guide a young person into their future success. Now, for the prospective mentees, you don't have to do it all by yourself. I know there is something inside of you that you want to forge ahead and you want to do it on your own. But I'm encouraging you to step onto our shoulders, the shoulders of those that have gone before you, so that we can push you up and propel you into the successful future that you aspire to. If you try to do it by yourself, you will only go so far. But we are a community. We're here for you. We want you to succeed. Not only do we just want you to succeed, but we need you to succeed. And if you're wanting to work for yourself, you're wanting to pour into yourself, and you want a little bit of help, that's what we're here for. We want to not only inspire you, but guide you. But most importantly, we want to open up doors of opportunities that you couldn't open up for yourself.
Amen.
Yes, definitely. And it also brings to mind the need for informal mentorship arrangements, right? Because even within our own small communities, there's so much need. And I liked what you said in the beginning, Irvin, in terms of, seeing those examples around you of those who had fallen down and gotten back up. Because even here within our own community, my husband is a physician. We're surrounded by other Black physicians. So the impression my daughter has is you grow up and you become a physician or you become a professional. But when we think of the reality that I believe only about 2% of physicians are Black in this country, that is actually not the reality beyond our own circle. So the importance of even creating informal mentorships where you recognize, and that's my appeal to everyone who's listening and viewing this program, that you recognize those in your community with the potential to be successful, but you're seeing that they're struggling, right? What is your responsibility as a community member to take that person under your wing and say, look, I've been where you are. This is the path I took. And this is how you can do it as well, because I come from where you come from. So what are your thoughts on that? Even the ability for those of us within our own communities to create those little networks to build the next generation and the generation even beyond them.
So much about success is about relationships.
Yep.
A lot of it has to do, of course, with preparation and having the internal capacity and the capability to do what needs to get done. But I think more of it has to do with relationships. Now, to be clear, relationships are built on certain principles, on principles of integrity and reliability. People need to know you as somebody who is a person of your word, somebody who will absolutely deliver what they say they're going to deliver, and so on and so forth. You have to have the fundamental capability to deliver. But then those relationships grow because people, just like you and me, would like to build with others. We enjoy building, but we sure love building with others. And so those relationships are very, very important. That's one of the reasons that we teach relationship building. We teach things like, I'm going to call it the art of schmoozing. This is super important to learn how to meet new people and relate with them. And by the way, we didn't come up with this stuff on our own. It all made sense, but Tracy actually commissioned a study by Pepperdine University to identify the gaps that people have coming out of school and what are the key differences between those who come out and are very successful and those who aren't. And this is what they came up with. It made a lot of sense when we looked at it, but I'm just making the point that this wasn't just Irvin and Tracy having a dinner conversation about, oh, here's what we think people need. No, these were, we had a properly commissioned study by graduate students, and this is what they found. And relationship building and maintaining those relationships. Somebody said to me that you can tell somebody who has really high integrity because they have lifelong relationships. When they're introducing you to people that they've known since grade school or grammar school, we call it back home, or high school, or more than 20 or 30 years, that means that person is usually a person of high integrity. If the only friends they know are friends they recently met, you should be suspicious. And so this whole relationship thing is real.
And when we teach this relationship building, the premise of it is that this is not transactional. It's givers who gain. You're building a relationship, and when you meet someone or you're building this relationship, you should go into it in the mindset of, how can I help this other person? And there's some way that you can help. And you want to pour into others. And then once you do that, you'll continue to build those relationships. And then at a point when you may need to leverage your network, you have people that would be there to help because you've helped them.
There are people, I spoke about Reggie, but and I spoke about Sam, but what about Gabriel Christian? I can call Gabe for anything. Gabe is another Dominican, an attorney out of the DC area. We can call him for anything. And Gabe is there, he's willing to give. Linton, Scotland. Linton is from St. Joseph. So these are people who I only use names that people might know to know. These are legit. If you know these people, you know they're real. And these people are giving of themselves, and that's what really makes them successful. And for us, the more we start, the more we can give to others. This is not a call for money. We'll be happy to take it if you give, but that's not the point. The point is you give to others. That's how you build relationships.
Yeah, and speaking of people you can call on and they will immediately respond and be willing to help, Mr. Sheridan Gregoire, the CEO of Q95 FM. right? So just
Absolutely.
having those relationships. And I like how you put it, the art of schmoozing, because many times we are bashful. We're afraid to approach people, have this conversation. But you are absolutely correct when you say, when you're thinking of having these conversations, and I'm speaking to those out there who are trying to create a path for themselves, when you're thinking of approaching people who are maybe further along than you, don't just approach them with the idea of how can you help me? Approach them with how can I help you?
Yes.
Because it has to be reciprocal, right? It has to be a give and take. And far too often, I think the mistake that a lot of our young people, not so young people, those of us who are trying to advance, is we have this little speech in our heads for when we meet people who can potentially help to advance us. But the part of the speech that is lacking is, what are you offering in exchange? Because no relationship, no healthy relationship at least, is one way. Every healthy relationship I know is a reciprocal relationship. So just some free advice for those who are tuning in and looking to build that path, create those opportunities for themselves using networking opportunities. But I want to share your contact information before we head out. So let me just confirm that this is the correct information you would like me to share. So I have the website as www.lanternnetwork.org.
That's correct.
And I have the phone number as area code 334-391-3886.
Yes, that's
Yes,
correct.
and let me also put an email address for anyone who might want to email you as well. Let me just give me 1 second. Email address. What's your email address?
T. Raphael at lanternnetwork.org.
At Lantern. And I'll repeat that for those listening on the radio, lanternnetwork.org. And I will be sure to repeat it again before the end of the program. But again, the website for more information is going to be www.lantern, LANTERN, network, network.org. The phone number again, area code 334-391-3886. And the email address, T as in Tracy, Raphael, RAPHAEL, at lanternnetwork.org. And I will be sure to repeat that before we go. But Tracy, kind of tell us, I think Irvin is trying to log back in or his camera is up, but kind of tell us, what are the challenges, because our time is quickly speeding along, but what are the challenges that you're currently facing? And then I want you to also share with us before we leave how folks can donate, how they can contribute to your movement. So what are the challenges that you're facing currently?
So I'll give you our number one challenge right now is I have about 20 students that we just brought into the program that we need to pair with mentors. What I can do is share with you, Simone, the profiles of those students so that we can find mentors for them. So that's what's most important. We want to pair our mentees as quickly as possible with someone who's in the field that the student is pursuing. And then what was the second part of that question?
And how we can make contributions, donations, support your overall mission.
Excellent. The way that you can donate is get onto our website, www.lanternnetwork.org. In the top right-hand corner, there is an orange button that says donate. And once you donate, you can donate very quickly using your credit card. You can donate if you want to donate stock options, and also you can mail in your donation. You can see our address on the bottom of the website.
Yeah, and this would be a tax deductible donation, right? Because you're a nonprofit.
Yes, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. At the bottom of every page of our website, you can see our tax ID number.
Yes, excellent. So again, guys, tax deductible donation. So you can make a donation, and I will give you the websites and the contact information again before we log off. Irvin, we were just talking about challenges that you're facing at this point.
Yeah, I think for us right now, that you just touched on one of them. We're expanding, we're growing, we're finding lots of young people to come in as mentees. We're finding mentors. Being able to continue to grow means we have to continue funding. This is a new part of the business for us. Finding successful people, learning how to be successful in our careers. Tracy and I, to be quite humble, are actually quite good at that. But meeting new people and getting contributions, applying for grants, we have some good help there. So the fundraising is a big part of it. The other thing I would say is making connections. So there are a lot of people out there who might not be able to donate in terms of cash, but they have contacts in corporate America or other businesses that would be valuable. Those are valuable as well.
Yeah, excellent. So I always like to end the program by taking a broader perspective on what we're talking about. So as you see yourself venturing more into Dominica, the Caribbean region, do you have some thoughts on on how that can impact the sustainable development of the Caribbean region? Because we all know that, as the program said at the beginning, many Dominicans and Caribbean people have migrated out of the Caribbean for opportunities. But do you see this growing exponentially to the point where it can boost the sustainable development of the Caribbean region? Is that kind of part of the vision you have? Because I'm a very big, broad vision kind of person. So your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would say it's both. I don't really look at people from the Caribbean staying and doing great, amazing things, building businesses, running radio stations, schools. Well, I don't see that as somehow diametrically opposed to immigrating and having a career somewhere else, or marrying somebody from Canada or England or France or wherever, America, and relocating there. I see them as just options. And I hope that we can give our people more options. And some of those options, of course, should include staying at home, wherever home is, and doing great things there. Because I think what's missing often is not so much the business or what we call the opportunity, but it's a mindset. It's a mindset, because if you can, in Dominica, with the right approach to the right mindset, believe it or not, there's still plenty of opportunity, and it takes opportunity to create opportunity. So it's kind of like, if you want fire, you can't sit and look at wood and say, well, you give me heat, right? And then I'll put the food, and then I'll light the fire. No, you have to get the wood, you have to light the fire. It takes time. You start small and it grows, and it's the same with life. So let's start at home. Let's get those fires going at home, and you know what? The rest of the world will benefit directly or indirectly.
Yeah, I think I froze for a minute.
Yes.
Yes, you were saying, Irvin, you were wrapping up?
Yes, I just wrapped up. I said the rest of the world will benefit either directly or indirectly as we begin at home and we can light our own fires and get our own economies, and most importantly, our mental model around our own development to grow.
Excellent. Tracy, any thoughts on that?
No, I think Irvin covered it all.
Excellent. So, guys, as we wind down the program, again, I want to thank you for being here to tell us all about the Lantern Network and the important work that you're doing with equipping young people, young professionals, and entrepreneurs, and now people who are interested in different trades with the tools to achieve financial independence. So, your opportunity for your final thoughts as we wind down the program. Tracy, I'll start with you.
I first want to say, Simone, thank you so much for having us on your amazing program. This has been the highlight of my day and the joy of this month. I just want to compel everyone to follow the Lantern Network on LinkedIn. Our handle is The Lantern Network. On Instagram, we are Lantern Network org. Please follow us, and you can stay abreast of all the amazing young people that are in the Caribbean, Africa, and also in the US.
Excellent. Thank you again for joining us. Irvin, over to you.
And I have to say, you think about how you define success, and I will have to tell you that in my wildest dreams, I didn't think that I would be here on live for almost 2 hours on Q95, speaking with you, Simone, and Roots Connections. I think this is just an amazing opportunity because we've positioned ourselves in such a way that we can help and we can learn from others. So I look forward to partnering more with you, Simone,
Yes.
and learning more from you as we continue to grow and expand and help many people. And I think whenever we can help our own, we appreciate it. So I love my Caribbean people. I love my Caribbean heritage. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for that. And so to the extent that I can turn around and give back, I'm in. I'm 100% in. So thank you so much, and thanks for giving us the opportunity.
Yeah, and thank you again for being here. And I like what you said, investing in those who are underestimated, because I think many times we think of our communities as underserved, but what we have to focus on is those who are underestimated, because we come with our strange accents and sometimes we are looked at as less than, just because we look different, we sound different, until folks realize what we are capable of, and then they start looking at us as a different type of alien.
Yes.
Which was my experience at college. So again, thank you for being here. Let me repeat the contact information one more time for anyone who's interested in learning more. So again, it is www.lantern, LANTERN, NETWORK, Lantern Network .org. That phone number again is area code 334-391-3886. And the email address is traphael@lanternnetwork.org. Or guys, you know how to reach me. If you need any information, you need to know some more, you can always reach me. You have my email address, pushpast10@gmail.com. pushpast10@gmail.com. And Alvin says, a great initiative and another amazing program. Thank you, Irvin and Tracy, for the work that you are doing. All the best, Simone. Irvin sounds so much like Sam. You see, I wasn't the only one. So thank you, Alvin. So guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Roots Connections on Q, right here on Q95, the big station. I've been your host, Dr. Simone Matthew. It is always wonderful to be on this journey with you as we continue to harness the power of technology, international radio, social media, and podcasts to continue to build the capacity needed for the sustainable development of Dominica and the Caribbean region. And the question we have to continue to ask ourselves as we continue to listen to Roots Connections is, what is the role that I can play in an initiative such as this? So every time you come on Roots Connections, that is the question I want you to have in the back of your mind. What role can you play in an initiative such as this? Or what role can you play in your community that goes beyond you, beyond your household? How are you investing in the community where you live, especially with regards to empowering and developing the young people in your area. So again, thank you for being here. Don't forget, you can email me at pushpast10@gmail.com, or to see everything that I'm doing with my mission to build capacity for the sustainable development of our people. You can visit my page at www.pushpast10.com. Again, pushpast10.com. So again, thank you for being here. Tracy, Irvin, Lambie, Showin, the Q95 family. Always wonderful to be in your company. We will be back with you on July 11th. And as a matter of fact, we're dedicating both programs in July for the development of our men, because as I mentioned, our men are in crisis. And so we are dedicating the two programs in July for how are we empowering our men as a community. So you can expect to hear from the Boy Scouts of Dominica, and we're also going to have Dr. Kevin Laura join us as well. So guys, thank you for being here. You have yourself a wonderful evening, pleasant rest, and have a wonderful rest of your week. So Tracy, Irvin, you can say bye to the folks, and we will be in touch. Tracy, I'll reach out to you and we'll continue with this event. Irvin, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody. And thank you to Q95 for us.
Yes, you're welcome. Take care, guys.
You too. Bye.
Have a good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Roots Connections on Q, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. every other Wednesday on Q95, the big station. Dominicans journeyed beyond our shores for decades in search of economic opportunities and educational advancement. Many are ready to give back to their cherished nature island. Welcome to Roots Connections on Q. Join Dr. Simone Matthew on Q95 as we tap into the life and times and expertise of our nature island Dominicans, at home and abroad. From our agriculture and industry to sustainable development, resilience and renewable energy, to the